Hey everybody, this is Bandit. Welcome to another episode of Bandit's Rules of the Road. On Saturday here in Iowa, we had a snowstorm, and up by my house, we were supposed to get 1 to 3 inches. We ended up probably with about 5. Here I am on I-80, and normally between Davenport, Iowa and Iowa City, some of the worst drivers in America. I say this, I grew up around this area, by the way, and I say this in all truthfulness. Back when I had my own flatbed, I went all over the country. I didn't go west of the Rockies, but anywhere else. Maine down to Miami, New Mexico, up to North Dakota, Wyoming, and then anywhere in between. Didn't matter where I went, what the weather was, what time of the day. I mean, okay, you got certain cities that rush hour was always a pain in the butt, and I'll cover Chicago later, but Washington D.C. and Atlanta was horrible. But out of all those places, out in the open road, out in the open interstate, the worst section of interstate in America, I swear, is from Davenport, Iowa to Iowa City. And I have no idea why. I mean, I have a couple of theories that there's a lot of students, young drivers going back and forth to school from the Quad Cities to Iowa City. I don't know. I guess I'm picking on them, and I shouldn't be because I have no proof. But the reason I'm recording this early this morning is, you see a little bit of pretty white in the trees and such and everything else, but I have a feeling we're going to see vehicles in the ditch. Now, normally, after a snowstorm around here, I would have seen by now vehicles in the middle, vehicles in the ditch. Now, this was Saturday, so maybe some of them got pulled out, or maybe for once people actually listened and stayed home. I have a hard time believing that, and I have a hard time believing that people didn't end up in the ditch. So it'll be interesting. As I talk, if I see something coming up, I'll point it out. But anyway, going back to my last episode, and I've talked to a few people since that episode. One of the reasons, there's a guy that's broke down, and I can't pull over and pick him up, but no cars are going to pick him up. There you go, common courtesy. When I'm in my four-wheeler, okay, recently I had a kidney removed. I had cancer. December 10th, I had my kidney removed. I was off work for a month, and on January 2nd, I had to go back down to Davenport and get cleared for work. On the way home, Lori is my girlfriend. Lori and I were driving up 67 on the way back home, and it was cold out, like really cold. And there was this old boy with what looked like a lunch pail walking up the side of the road. So I said, "Hey, Lori, do you mind if we stop and give this guy a ride? It's cold out." She said, "I don't care." So we stopped and grabbed him, and he was on his way to work. He had evidently walked it before. He said it takes him about 2 hours to get to work in Clinton. And he said his vehicle was broke down. Hopefully it was going to this was a Wednesday. He said hopefully it was going to get fixed by Friday. So, I couldn't believe. Now, mind you, I don't do this I don't do it for money. I don't do it for accolades. I do it because it's the right thing to do. However, I always put the shoe on the other foot. And if I was walking to work and I had a 2-hour walk ahead of me and it was that cold and somebody actually pulled over to stop and pick me up, I would profusely, wow, I can't talk, it's Monday morning. I would absolutely let it be known to the person that stopped and picked me up how grateful I was. Wow, thank you so much for pulling over. Thanks for this. Oh, you're saving me so much time. It's cold out there. Thank you so much. This guy barely said 2 words. I tried to get him to talk. I asked about himself, and I asked about his work, and I asked about his car, and and I even thought ahead and said, hey, it takes you 2 hours to get to work. This was about 12:30. I'm guessing he had to work at 3 o'clock shift. So at that point in time, we were going to get him to where he had to go in about 15 minutes. He was going to be sitting there for 2 hours early. So I said, hey, do you actually want to go to work, or do you want to go to Home Depot? Or I'm sorry, I didn't say Home Depot. Or do you want to go somewhere else to hang out? Do you want me to drop you off at the truck stop? Because it was a few blocks away from where he had to work, and he could sit there and eat and do whatever, sit in the truck stop. And he said, no, you know what, you could just drop me at Home Depot, which is just up the hill from where he had to work. And so I said, that's fine. I had a car behind me, and I'm always conscious of what's going on around me, and I'm always trying not to mess with somebody else's day. I had a car behind me that pulled into Home Depot, and I'm thinking, all right, we're just going to drop this old boy off, right at the door, so it's not a big deal. I'll just stop right here at the stop sign in front of the door, and this guy can get out and on his way, and I didn't mess with the car behind me. Yeah, it took this guy 5 minutes. He was big. He was a big boy, and I think he was a little simple, not picking on him, but a little simple. But it took him 5 minutes to get out of my vehicle. So now I'm thinking about the car I stopped in front of, and I'm getting upset about that, or nervous, or whatever. And both Lori and I says, hey, have a good day. I hope I hope things go better for you, or whatever. And he very offhandedly said, yeah, thanks. And out the door he went. Now, is that going to stop me from doing that in the future? No, absolutely not. Again, I don't do it for money. I don't do it for the accolades. I do it because it's the right thing to do. And I do it because if I'm in that situation someday, I want somebody to do that for me. I want somebody to swing over and pick me up and give me a ride. And that's why. And I truly believe in karma. I truly believe it comes back around. What you do, good or bad, comes back around. I don't know if you can even call it karma, or if it's just the circumstances you find yourself in because that's the life you live. But I truly believe it. And so that guy back there on I-80, I'm in a big truck. I pull hazardous material. I am not supposed to stop on the side of the road. I could have, mind you. I could have stopped if he would have hopped in fast and everything else. But by the time I saw him, I saw the car broke down. But by the time I saw him locking up my truck to get over and give this guy, and he was on his cell phone, mind you, so he wasn't completely helpless. But that would have been probably caused more problems than helping him. But all these people in their cars that could have easily pulled over and helped this guy just keep flying by. I know They're on their way to work and they can't be bothered, and they're time constrained and everything else. But that's bullshit. We all know it. The 2 minutes that it would have took for them to pull over, hey, where do you need to go? You need to go to a gas station? Okay, there's one up the road here. You know, it goes back to this world would be a better place if we all just paid attention to what was going on around us and helped each other out a little bit more. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about that. But it kills me. I am very impressed, however, that I have not seen a car in the ditch yet. Normally, by now, after a snowstorm, I've seen several cars in the ditch. So now, after I give you that nice speech about the worst drivers in America in this section between Davenport and Iowa City, they're going to prove me wrong, which is fine, because, you know, all it does is slow everybody down if there's vehicles in the ditch and people are pulling them out and everything else. So maybe Saturday it eased up on everybody and they had the roads cleared and it was no big deal. So that would be nice. At least there's no fatalities, no injuries, all that good stuff. But going back to the show the other day, talking about why it takes so long for big trucks to pass big trucks out here. And I explained to you about the different reasons that trucks are governed down to slow speeds, and one of the other things that I forgot to bring up. So you have two trucks that are both set at 65 miles an hour. And there's so many things that come into play. Hills. I call my truck a dragonfly truck. It drags ass on up the hill and then it flies on down the hill. It's a dragonfly truck. Most trucks, most company trucks that don't have the extra power that owner operators have and such, are dragonfly trucks. So you hit a hill, you slow down, going up, and then as you go down the hill, I don't ride my brake. I figure the extra speed that I can gain going down a hill, why slow it down? Why waste it? But when you're getting next to a truck that's governed to the same speed as you, if that truck is empty and you were loaded, or vice versa, the loaded truck obviously is going to have a harder time going up the hill. So the empty truck is going to get ahead. Then as you're going down the hill, the loaded truck is going to go faster because of gravity. Simple physics, people. And the lighter truck is going to fall behind. So that's one of the reasons that you can sit there, depending on how hilly the roads are and everything else. That is one of the reasons why it can take 5 miles to get around that other truck. Now, once again, not patting myself on the back. There are people like me out here. There truly are. I've seen them. I've met them. I've driven with them. If I've got a truck that's trying to get around me and we've got this situation going on in the hills and they come up ahead of me but can't quite get around me, and then the next hill I capture them and go ahead of them and blah blah blah, and it goes back and forth like this for about a mile or so, I will usually hit my brake, get off the cruise, slow down, and let that truck in front of me. That truck is obviously governed faster than me, whether it's 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 miles an hour faster than me. He was fast enough to catch me. He was fast enough to get out in the hammer lane to go around me. Once he gets ahead of me a little ways, I'm not going to have any problems with him. So, courtesy to the other drivers out here, courtesy to that driver, so he doesn't get look like an idiot that tried to pass and took to 5 miles to pass, and everybody behind him is pissed off. Plus, everybody behind him, courtesy to them, I hit my brakes. I slow down for 30 seconds. And then I re-engage the cruise control. He usually has enough time and he gets over in front of me, unless we're in the hills and everything else. Again, I usually don't have to screw with him again, but even if I do and I have to let off on the cruise again for another 30 seconds, it's not gonna kill me. It's not going to affect my trip, but it is going to affect that driver and it is going to affect the people behind him. So why not do it? But you'd be surprised. I've been the one in the hammer lane and I caught this guy. I'm going around him and then we get into some hills and it's the back and forth crap. And you think that person will let me back? I've gone 6 miles, 7 miles, because by the time I figure out that he's screwing with me and not going to let me back over, and I start to let out of it to just climb back in behind him, this is the time we start going down a hill or something and I can finally get around him. But it's not cool at all. And it comes down again to common courtesy. Doesn't matter. Holding doors open for people. Saying please, saying thank you. I have pushed this issue on my kids all their lives. And I love it when I hear from other parents saying, oh, your kids are so polite. Oh, your kids they're such good kids. Now, here's the thing. I'm sidetracking here, and this is the life stuff. But if your kid's a rotten asshole, nobody's going to tell you that. Most people won't tell you that. I won't say nobody, but most people won't tell you that. Your kid will stay over at their house, and how was he? Oh, fine. That's what you'll get. Fine. And when my kids have friends over and they're good kids and the parents come and pick them up or I drop them off or whatever, and they say, hey, how was he? How was she? I say, if they're good kids, I say, oh, they're great. They're so polite. They got good manners. They are welcome at our house anytime. If they're shitheads, I don't say much. Oh, they're fine. So you know when your kids are good. People will go out of their way. I go out of my way to let these parents know they raised their kids well. You know, if they're good kids, if they've got manners, I let these parents know, yes, your kid's great. They can come back anytime. So that is what I get normally, 99% of the time, for my kids. I get parents telling me they're great, they can come back anytime, I love your kids. So I know I did something right. And a lot of it, I had one particular mother of my youngest, my daughter, actually told my daughter to tell me that I did a great job because she always says please and thank you, and she said something to her about how do you know who taught you how to say please and thank you all the time? And she said, my dad. Well, you tell your dad thank you, that he did a good job raising you. So I digress once again, sidetracked. This is the world we live in, and it comes to what kind of future world do we want? We have to teach our kids manners. We have to teach our kid courtesy. Hold the door open. Say thank you when somebody holds the door open for you. I know this is simple crap, but where I work, I know, okay, I work in the truck, so I don't work with anybody. But I do have to pick up a load and I do have to deliver a load every day. And where I pick up my load, there are workers coming in and out constantly. And I hold the door. And I'd say 80%, and by the way, when I throw percentages out, don't ever think that I'm even close to being right. These are just in my mind. But I'd say 80% of the people say thank you. Say something, say good morning, whatever. But 20%, and there are 20% of grown-ass adults that you hold the door open for, and they won't say a word. I would rather have them say F you, so that I could say F you back. And I have been close. It takes a lot to upset me, but I have been very close to saying, hey, you're welcome, to somebody who doesn't say anything when I hold the door open for them. Haven't done it yet. I always say that I'm gonna, but I have not done it yet. But anyway, it doesn't take much. There's not a whole lot of effort. And I think if we had more of it in the world, I think we'd all get along a little bit better. I think everybody's day would be a little bit better. And you know what? Along with those things, just common courtesy and such, hey, go out of your way to tell somebody, good job. Good job. I mean, you like to hear that, don't you? Oh, there we go. I knew I was going to hit bumps and... All right. How are we at? Where are we at here? All right. Sorry about that. Oh, by the way, still don't have my... it's supposed to come in today on Amazon. My brother Matt ordered it for me. Nice, fancy. So right now you're looking through a little bit of salt scum on the windshield. The roads out here are rough, and so that's why you looked at the sky for a minute there. But so we're not quite set up yet, but we're getting there. But anyway, going back to, wow, that's really bouncing around there, isn't it? Yep. Okay. Going back to telling people, you put the shoe on the other foot. Maybe that's what I should have called this channel. The shoe on the other foot. Everybody likes to hear that. This is starting to get to me. Sorry, people. Might have to cut this one short today, too. And by the way, when you're going down the interstate in your car and you think the road's rough, it's 10 times worse for us big trucks. 10 times worse. So, quit whining. Just kidding. Anyway, everybody likes to hear they're doing a good job. Put the shoe on the other foot. Tell somebody they're doing a good job. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's a waitress in a restaurant. I don't care if it's a worker at McDonald's. I don't care if it's somebody at the fuel stop, works behind the counter, or the people that you pick up your load from, or whatever. Just tell people they're doing a good job, or literally tell them you like their hair, tell them you like their new glasses. It doesn't take much effort, but it means the world to somebody else. I can't say that enough. I can't say that enough. You think about how it makes you feel. How good it makes you feel. Now, return the favor to anybody, to everybody. I'm telling you, it'd be a better world if we all just got along better, helped each other out, and made each other feel better. It would all be a better world. There wouldn't be this division. There wouldn't be this, I don't want to get into politics. Anyway, so I think I'm going to cut that short. We haven't seen any cars in the ditch. If I happen to run into the area west of here, or there's vehicles in the ditch or whatever, I'll start recording another show and get it out there. But for some odd reason today, this rough road and, well, the trailer has a setback kingpin, which means the load is riding farther forward, and it's just making things a little bit rougher. I'll explain all that on a different program, but for today I think that's about it. I love you all. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.